Welcome to episode 93 of Rubbish Talk with me, Alasdair.
And me, Jane Bond.
Today we're going to talk all about being more sustainable in 2026. It feels like ages, Jane, since we've...
Yeah, absolutely ages since we've had this recorded together and done all our chit-chat about Rubbish Talk. And so how was your holiday?
I was busy on Christmas Day sorting out making sure the post went up on Spotify. No, in fairness, I put it up on Spotify. I just had to make sure it was on the website, but I only managed to do that on Christmas Day. I forgot on New Year's.
Christmas Day.
So if
well, that's dedication for you.
If anybody's struggling, even more dedicated were the people that listened on Christmas and New Year's Day. So there you go.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
They must have been out walking the dog or getting away from the families.
Yeah, absolutely.
So third year of recording, Jane.
No, it's not bad.
Year 3, rapidly approaching our 100th episode. We need
big milestone.
We need to actually think what the hell we're doing for 100. So if anybody's got any bright ideas what we do for 100, then please get in touch, because I'm not sure we've got any ideas yet, and it'll be upon us soon enough.
Well, we could always sort of record something going down a zip line or something running through the country, or some sort of, I don't know, event.
Any suggestions are welcome. Any suggestions. So what we've got, we've not done news for a while, so anything exciting in the big bad world out there?
Well, we've got one that I don't know if it's exciting, but it's quite sad. There was a collapse of a landfill site in the Philippines, and central Philippines, well, really recently, killed a 22-year-old woman and leaving more than 30 people missing. And it looks like, I mean, you look at the photo of it and it just looks like big lumps of plastic or something that seem to have fallen down the landfill.
I don't know if it's a shed, Jane, that's collapsed or something. It's maybe, I think it's the landfill's collapsed and knocked down the shed. I think that was the thing, but it is quite sad. There's,
looks quite a significant slip on that landfill site.
Lots of life. The other one, in a totally different vein, the one I noticed the other day was Lego have unveiled a tech-filled smart brick. What more do we need in our life but a small Lego block that's actually got some waste electrical equipment in it? It did make me take a bit of a pause as to whether Lego's lost their sustainability credentials they were trying to build up when they were looking at going with recycled plastic a few years back.
So why are they putting in tech-filled versions? It's small. What's the point in that?
Presumably it's got flashy lights and all sorts in it.
It's like the flashy lights you see on the kids' shoes these days,
trainers
isn't it?
And stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my. I saw that at the start of January and thought, that's a bit of waste electrical equipment we probably don't need in our lives. Can you imagine trying to? You've got boxes and boxes of Lego, and you've got to wade through it and find the 10 bricks that are waste electrical equipment so you can recycle them properly.
Is that really going to happen?
How likely is that going to happen?
No, absolutely. Well, the other one I've got, before we were going on quite a lot about this Kidlington, the big waste dump in Kidlington. That was so it looked like it was a big valley, and obviously that took off in the press, and the Environment Agency authorised the clearance of the site in December 2025. It was in parliamentary questions, and full clearance of the 20,000 tonnes of waste. I have read this, and I'm not actually sure who's paying for it.
Government, I presume. So it's an environment. Well, it's an environment agency. Environment agency issued the direct award. So it's not going to contracts. It's going direct award. So the Acumen Waste Services Limited has won the work, or they got awarded the work, and that the value is £8 million. So if you work that back to a price per tonne, that's going to be £380 per tonne. So if they're just digging that up and sending it to landfill or waste energy, they're making a tidy sum in there. Because their cost would probably be, maybe £200, £250 a tonne.
Yeah, because they're basing it on the fact that it's a fire risk. Yeah, so that's good. I mean, at least we're getting that issued. At least it's getting clear.
Well, at least it's getting clear. But as somebody said the other day, why that one, and why?
Well, yeah.
What about all the other ones?
Yeah, because there was one here that we were looking at in the Daily Mail, so obviously it must be true. And there's another one here. Is this Britain's biggest ever fly tip? Illegal waste dump that's been spewing toxic plastic fumes across a family countryside adventure park. So, big sort of hard-hitting headlines here. But again, everybody's going to be identifying waste types here, and it says the problem dates back to 2018, and there's plastic rubble and all that sort of stuff. So that's in Herefordshire, and it actually says it's body of water forms the old Herefordshire and Gloucestershire Canal, so it's next to that.
It's right on the.
Yeah,
I looked at the pitch
right
that one.
on
It's right in the water's edge.
Yeah, it is. It's not looking good, and it's smouldering. So yeah, so there's another one, and I'm sure we're going to find lots. Well, there are lots more. I guess it's just a case of publicising these things, isn't it? Looks like you publicise them, they get into Parliament, and people do something about it.
But it's back to who's paying it. Ultimately, that's coming off the public purse, whether it's Environment Agency or Council or government is paying it. So it's a bit depressing. I think that's going to be one we're going to see. I think because there's a bit of press attention to this, I think there's the dots are being joined. So when these sites appear or they've been reported on or under-reported on, they're flagging up nationally now. The last one I had was Ian Gulland, who was Chief Executive Officer for Zero Waste, has retired after 11 years, stepped away from Zero Waste Scotland. One of the things I found really interesting with the post was it mentioned one of the successes was the plastic bag tax. And I was like, when was that introduced? And you realise it's over 11 years ago since the tax was introduced in Scotland. So there you go.
Wow.
Initially it was 5 pence a bag, and now it's 10 pence a bag. But the worry I've got with that, the Zero Waste Scotland, their budget's something like £84 million a year. If the best we've done is a plastic bag tax 11 years ago, then that's maybe a bit unfair, but we've not got huge successes we can point to over the last 10, 11 years.
I don't know. There's we've banned cotton buds and single-use plastic forks and knives.
That was people were ranting about that the other day about wooden spoons. So we banned plastic spoons, and we've now got wooden spoons that nobody likes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And somebody was ranting about it on LinkedIn the other day, and I was like, just put a teaspoon in your bag. It's amazing what you can eat with a teaspoon, and it fits in the bottom of your bag. So I think that's the purpose of life. Ban the plastic spoon, make people use wooden spoons at every days, and then they need to be even more sustainable by putting
bringing your own
a spoon in their bag. So there you go.
When Anna, my daughter, started at uni at one of the halls, they got a little pouch with the knives and forks and spoons in it that you were supposed to take with you each time you go to the canteen. I've actually got it in my car, so I'm very sustainable there, but I keep forgetting I've got it.
But going back to Zero Waste Scotland, the big thing we've got to look forward to is the Circular Economy Act is now in force. So we've got all the major benefits that are going to flow from that. So I'm sure we'll talk about that over the next year.
I'm sure we will. Okay.
Anything else? So what are we going to talk about today? Oh, we're going to be good. We're going to try and be good and be more sustainable in 2026, Jane. So
yeah, that's right. Set the tone for the new year. More sustainable. What can we do? How do we make these changes? Healthier and save you money. All these good practices you can do. So that's our aim for the next 10 minutes to give you what you should do in 2026 to be more sustainable, healthier, and save you money. Sorted.
Do you think we'll manage this in 10 minutes? We'll try our best. We'll try our best. I suppose before we do that, why is it important? I suppose at the moment there's quite a bit of pushback on sort of green agenda and so on, but you only need to look at, weather around the world at the moment. Australia, currently over 40 degrees in lots of places. Some places recording 46, 47 degrees. You've got issues with the ski resorts in the Alps. Some had loads of snow, some had no snow. Japan's due a massive dump of snow that's not normal. There's certainly things changing with the weather, and we all impact on it, whether we like it or not. We've got the issue that we're not using resources sustainably. I had the pleasure or displeasure of going to the household waste recycling site 3 times over Christmas because I was doing a bit of a clear out. And honestly, it's a mad, mad place. The stuff that is getting thrown out on a regular basis is obscene. And it's really about this bit about, small actions, small changes can make a difference. And the one I keep harking on about, and I've used loads of times, is if you reuse a bottle once, every single person in the UK does that. That's 60 million bottles less that need recycled. But also the other part of all this is complicated. It's not easy. It's not easy for myself and you, Jane, to do this. So how on earth are sort of members of the public going to work out what's right, what's wrong? How do we access all the right resources and so on? So hopefully we'll give you a few tips and ideas for how you can do that. So over to you about reducing food waste first, Jane. Then what's your?
Well, my thing for reducing food waste is basically eat it. So, there's obviously Christmas is that time where you have masses amount of food that you don't need. You don't eat everything. And what do you do with it afterwards? You've got all these sprouts that nobody ate. Now, my mum, right, I'm going to say my mum is the best at making soup ever. So, we had Christmas soup with turkey, sprouts, everything inside it, and it was absolutely amazing. Absolutely
turkey
amazing.
and rice soup with cut up carrots and Brussels sprouts from the Christmas dinner.
Absolutely, everything in it, and it's good. There's a limit. As long as you've got a freezer, that's fine. But there is the website Love Food Hate Waste. Actually, it is a really good thing. It gives you some guidance and all this sort of stuff, and it talks about every year the UK household throws away 4.4 million tonnes of edible food worth £17 billion, with Christmas staples like potatoes, poultry and carrots among the most wasted. And then it talks about food planning, which is probably a bit late now, but making your food go further, looking at actual recipes and things like that, which, you can get sick of turkey soup or turkey curry, but, it gives you more ideas of what to do with your turkey going forward.
No, it's a good site, actually. It's a while since
a good site, yeah.
I've been on it. I suppose the first bit we always say to people is that if you're not using your food waste recycling collection, then definitely do that. And that this will apply to a lot of south of the border. England's getting their food waste rolled out, so now's the time to start looking at it. And one of the things I should have mentioned at the start is a lot of what we're going to talk about either saves you money or makes you healthier, or a combination of both. So there is an advantage to doing it. So in terms of how else we can stop producing the waste in the first place, I've got this 24-hour, whereas I'm going to buy something, especially if it's late at night and I'm sitting there scrolling and I've decided to buy something, I'll leave it on limbo land and for 24 hours and see if I actually really need it or can be bothered to order it the next day. So that's one thing. And another thing is looking at, if you have got something that you like or use a lot, can you get it repaired? We've highlighted before the repair cafes. So there is a network of repair cafes where you can go in and either learn to how to repair something or somebody will repair it for you, and you just need to search that out. The one thing I was thinking, Jane, when I was sort of researching for this is there's so much stuff out there, like websites that have been sort of half done. People have got good ideas. And it's like, it'd be really good if you could get a list of like networks that actually work. Like I found one site that did it about repair cafes, and the nearest repair cafe that logged on it was someplace in France. I was like,
right, okay.
I want to be able to write, if I want a repair cafe, where is the central site that I need to go and look at that? So I've linked in the show notes the one in Glasgow, but how do we, if you live in Leeds, how do you find the one nearest you?
There's quite a few of these men's sheds now, aren't there, where, you can go and take stuff for repair, or people can learn how to repair things, which is good. So what about decluttering, Alasdair?
Well, that was why I was at the HWRC site all over Christmas. I was decluttering, and I had success, actually. I decluttered my office to a certain extent, and I found a certificate that I'd lost 3 months ago. So that was my win. That was a real win.
Well, my decluttering I mentioned earlier was finding that knife, fork, and spoon in the car and thinking, oh, I should be using those rather than thinking about it, putting it away for use, and then forgetting about it. I think that's the problem. I forget all these things if they're not in plain sight. It's like, you forget. But there's lots of other things if you're decluttering. What do you have most of, Alasdair, that you would declutter?
I've got equipment. I've got
Stuff.
my running stuff is a bit, and I do need to sort. My number of pairs of running shoes is slightly excessive because I've only got one pair of feet, so I don't need 15 pairs of trainers really. But I'm working and wearing some of them out, so I can genuinely. They generally actually. I was thinking about this over Christmas. Quite often, I will break the laces before I break the shoe. So
Okay, so you just need a set of new laces.
Well, what I generally do is if I do throw out a pair of shoes, I will take the laces off them, so I've got spare laces. That's how I do it. But no, I was having a wee bit of a search, and I found this sell your books app. So you get an app on your phone to sell your books. So if you've got books that you're running out, works really well. You scan the barcode and it tells you how much you're going to get for your book, and then you package them all up and you send them off and you get your money, which I
can't imagine there's much money you're going to make from selling a load of books, because I know it sounds a bit sort of funny, but people don't read books as much anymore. They're on Kindles or phones or whatever.
Well, I tried it last night. I went to the bookcase and tried it. So let's put it this way. I think I'll need to keep the day job going.
Right, okay, you're not going to get much for your books then.
So I was getting probably between 40 and 60 pence a book. But I suppose if you've got, you've
got a lot of books, I suppose that will add up,
if you've got 50 or 60 books, it's worthwhile. And if I presume they're buying them, they're buying them and paying a fee and paying the delivery. I presume they've got a use for them. So I suppose they're going out to somebody. Here's a question on the subject of books, Jane. Here's a question for you. Is it right or wrong? So if you were given a book as a present and you read the book and enjoyed it,
yeah,
is it acceptable to then give that book to somebody else as a present?
We had a book club. That's what we used to do. We say you don't have to have, we used to give books out to people as presents. You don't have to. It's a good one to enjoy, and we'd said that you have to, it's secondhand or whatever. You don't have to buy a new one. So, but that was known that it was. I suppose it depends. When I read my books, I open them up and all the pages are all,
Oh, you don't make a mess of a book. That's sacrilege.
I used to read them in the bath and stuff like that. So I suppose if it doesn't look like anybody's read it, then fine. Otherwise, if it looks like you've read it, then, it's a bit kind of cheap, really, unless you tell them.
Is it cheap or is it just reusing properly?
Well, good question. Good question.
Good value.
Well,
let's just say there's somebody on this podcast that did just that at Christmas.
I probably would if it was sorted on us and I'd actually said to somebody, I love this book, I've given it to you as a present because it really means a lot to me. You do it like that.
You got to slant it the right way.
That's right, exactly. Totally.
Like that.
I'd probably just take them all down to the charity shop, to be honest.
Yeah. So the other one I discovered during holidays is a site called A Good Thing, and it's run by a lady called Kathy Benwell.
Okay.
And they've really focused on a business to charity donation. So what you do is you put your items, you take a photograph of them, you put them up, and the charity will arrange to come and collect them. And as a business, you pay a small fee for that.
Okay.
In the office here, Jane, we've had lots of new desks and stuff like that. We have contacted a local recycling charity who have very kindly come and taken them away. But if you don't have that locally to you, then it's maybe worth having a wee look at A Good Thing on the platform. So interesting story. It was a COVID baby. It was born out of COVID. Kathy and our husband designed it. So there we go. So any ideas you've got? Any bright ideas for the old decluttering, Jane?
Well, apart from books, the other thing I've got is a lot of I don't throw stuff away very often. So I've got loads of clothes and I'd normally take them to a charity shop, to be honest, because it's the easy thing to do. But so many people are selling on Vinted and eBay and making money out of it. So, it's definitely an option. And I was obviously, eating all that turkey and God knows what else, put a bit of weight over Christmas. And I'm thinking, I don't want to buy a new pair of trousers that's going to cost me 50, 60 quid, a new pair of jeans, because you never know, I might reduce that weight. So I was thinking I'm going to go to the charity shop and have a rummage and see if they've got anything there, just because I don't want to spend 40 quid on a pair of jeans if I can, because obviously the 2026 New Year's resolution is to lose weight. So I'll be able to fit back into the clothes that I could fit in before Christmas. That's the idea anyway.
There you go.
Charity shops.
To reuse your original clothes.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds good.
Anything else?
Well, I think on the subject of repair shops and reuse and so on, we did talk to Michael Cook, Chief Executive Officer of Circular Community Scotland. So they've got a good network. So if you are looking for some inspiration in this space, then we can share that space. And the other one, just to bang on our usual drum about waste electricals. I know when I went to the HWC site, they had the big items all set aside, so fridges and TVs and so on. They did have a space for waste electricals, they had a space for batteries, and they actually had a space for cables, which I hadn't actually realised they were collecting them separately, so I did have to stand there and sort of defangle all my cables for my stuff. So, but certainly, if you're interested on waste electrical and electronic recycling, we did an episode way back, long a time ago with Scott Butler, episode 15, and they've got their HypnoCat campaign, which is all about recycle your electricals. So if you get any waste electrical equipment, certainly worth having a look at that. But I suppose going back to the Vinted and the eBay, Jane, I am having a bit of a shed clear out at home and a loft clear out and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many things you think, easy option is take it to the charity shop, but are you sure it's going to be reused? Whereas maybe if you spent the time, put it on Vinted, somebody would get the value out of it and the benefit out of it. So my wee goal this year is to sort of get my Vinted account. I've not got a Vinted account. I used to have an eBay account. Get them live again and see if I can actually get a wee bit of value and make a few pennies as I go. But hopefully get some of the things I've got that I'm no longer using out to people that will maybe value them more than I'm currently valuing them. So that's my challenge.
Yes, I suppose so, because if you're actually paying for it, then you're going to be using it, aren't you? With the charity shops, they might be looking at them thinking, we're not going to be able to sell that, and it might go somewhere else it shouldn't. You were talking about the Scott Butler thing, and I was thinking about those Lego pieces you were just talking about
I
earlier.
Messaged them. I messaged
to see whether or not they're on his list.
Tagged them onto a LinkedIn post and said, have you seen this yet, Scott? What we don't need for 2026. So talking about decluttering, we're going to the household waste recycling site, Jane. How do we get ourselves organised? What do we need to do?
Well, good question, because there's so many places that you do need to book in now. So just make sure you do need to book in and get your time or whatever, because if you're decluttering, you to take it to the site, their waste site or whatever, and also visit the website as well, because you can actually identify what you can actually recycle rather than chucking everything into that big bay that all goes to landfill or energy from waste. So actually, like you were saying, when you went, you didn't realise they did cables or whatever. Again, it's looking at the website. Yes, I can recycle cables. Yes, I can recycle this, recycle that, separate them. Need to be organised right at the very beginning rather than chucking everything in the car, though. That's a good idea. And don't take your kids.
Well, have I confessed about this before on this podcast?
I don't know.
I remember when my son was not very young, but probably sort of 10 or 11, and I went to the small household waste recycling site in Prestwick, and I just naturally, you come and give me a hand sort of thing. And I was very politely approached by the operator to say, could you make sure your child goes back in the car?
Really?
And I was like, I should have known better, because you know what these places are like. They're pretty frantic, and cars are driving around, people
Yeah.
carrying things around and so on. So my point with it was really, as I said, I was there over Christmas. It was a busy period, although the site is booking only. But even then, it's pretty frantic. You know, people try to empty their vehicle, they're trying to move their car and so on. I would say if you are going, you know, do you need an extra pair of hands to help you, you know, do a bit of planning in terms of segregating your stuff. And if you're not sure, ask the operators. You know, they're certainly the ones I use are certainly helpful. One of the interesting things I thought this year was Air. They've got a paper and cardboard, and they had very clear signage up saying no wrapping paper.
None at all.
No. So I suppose that would have probably annoyed quite a lot of people, because if they'd bagged up their cardboard and their wrapping paper together, they weren't going to be able to recycle. But I think it's just down to the amount of contamination that comes through the wrapping paper, that it's not recyclable papers.
Because we did talk about that last year, didn't we? And about how you test whether it's okay or not by scrunching it up. But obviously,
so I'm imagining some people that bought the proper recyclable paper to actually recycle might even a bit upset about it. I think it's just how to manage things. So
yeah,
I did think that was quite interesting. So there you go. So if you do need to do it, then sort of plan ahead. That's our suggestions.
Yeah. And what else can we do?
Well, in the big bad world, the wider theme of sustainability, Jane, what can we look at? We're not going to sort out the world here in the next 5 minutes, but what else can we look at?
Well, my biggest thing is heating. Because I've had like the kids home all over Christmas and everything like that, and they're all like, "Oh, we'll just put the heating on. We'll just put the heating on." And I'm like, "Can you not just put your jumper on? And look, here's a big rug to wrap round you. You'll be fine." So we've had. They're not too bad, but it's shutting the door. And I tell you what, I think I need new radiators, because the radiators I've got just do not pump out enough heat.
It's been cold. It's been cold, hasn't it?
It has been cold. Yeah. So definitely heating or switching down the heating. My house never ever gets to the maximum temperature anyway. So people say turn down your thermostat. I said, well, it never gets to that heat anyway.
I did disappear just I think the 2nd of January, I disappeared in my little camper van all by myself to do some hills.
Huh.
And my diesel heater that I thought had been repaired was not repaired.
It was a bit chilly.
I have not been as cold in my life for a long time.
No.
It was actually warmer outside the van than it was inside the van. So I think sometimes you could go and do these things and you actually realise, like, just having a little bit of heat is nicer than just having no heat. So I know fully. So I suppose the other one that big impact people have is driving. Estimated that 60% of journeys people make are under 5 miles, and 25% of journeys are under 1 mile. I can't imagine using a car for 1 mile. 1 mile is only 15 minutes. It's walking.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really, in terms of, saves you money. You get healthier by walking or cycling. And the biggie, I think lots and lots of people forget, is it reduces air pollution. Back to, it's estimated between 29 and 43,000 premature deaths occur annually in the UK because of air pollution.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Well, not impressive, but that's a lot of deaths.
A lot of people.
That's a lot of deaths. Yeah.
And the big one, if you make a regular commute, I make a regular commute by walking to work, but if you make a regular commute to an office or something, can you do a little bit of car sharing? And there is a website called liftshare.com, which you sort of match up to people potentially going in the same direction as yourself, and you share the cost, and you have some company.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've seen that car share on the telly. You never know, you could end up having such good fun and singing along.
Is it advertised?
Car share? No, you know the car share that telly program.
All right, okay, I did it.
Yeah, you never watched it.
I've never watched that, Jane. Sorry, I'm deprived.
Oh, never mind.
And the other one, this is a bit of a rant for me actually, is water and sewage. So we've talked lots about sewage and not putting stuff down the toilet and so on, or the sink that shouldn't be down there. But the one that drives me nuts at the moment is water. So the number of times I go into the gym and people leave the taps running.
Yeah.
As
I
if
noticed that as well.
It doesn't cost money, and it's like, it costs resource and energy to get the water to your house or your business. We shouldn't be wasting it, especially when we've got areas of the country which are, fairly short of water.
Yes, so that's another one. I've come across that as well. And then I suppose the other thing is looking at litter and how, one, we're not dropping litter, but two, we can actually look at how we can help with community cleanups and things like that, because there's quite a lot. There's a lot go on, isn't there? And annual mass litter picking event. I think is that mid-March, late
Keep
April.
Scotland Beautiful.
Yeah,
Keep
KSB.
Scotland Beautiful. I've got one 13th of March to the April the 24th. So it's over. It's more than a day.
Excellent.
It's over a period. I think they're trying to encourage people.
And there's the litter picking on the beaches as well, and all sorts of stuff which you can help with. I think I'll try and do that this year.
And the last one, Jane. The last one.
I don't like this one.
But I know. This is the last. We both struggle with this one. So internet, so if you actually look at your own personal carbon impact, quite often, unless you're traveling lots of miles for business or work, quite often your biggest impact is going to be international travel. As you probably recognise, Jane and I like to disappear every so often, and generally we fly. So one of the things, the rabbit hole I was going down earlier on was, how do you calculate your personal carbon budget? So it's that logic that unless you can measure something, you can't improve it. So there's lots of tools out there. If you Google personal carbon budget, you will get lots of tools that's come up. But which one is the best one? So what we need is the listeners to tell us which one they like the best. And we can try that, Jane. We can do it. And then we can see next year if we've got any better.
In terms of not going on holiday, in terms of offsetting our carbon.
In terms of reducing our carbon impact, we could.
So do we need to identify whether there's electric planes yet? And we can...
We're not getting that.
Yeah, or whether different airlines have different fuel economy uses going to the same place.
I think it's that way of trying to work out what small changes you can make that have an impact.
Yeah.
And what I was interested in was trying to work out that there's lots of, there's probably 10 or 12 different carbon budgets or ways of calculating that you can put your data in. But which ones actually work? Because I don't think I've got the strength to log on to all 12 of them and check them. Somebody
will do it, won't they?
We're looking for some help.
So to wrap up, 2026 Sustainability Action Plan. So we've rabbited on a bit and all that sort of stuff. But basically there's the 3 R's, which, reduce. We talked about energy, food waste, single-use plastics, take your own knives and forks, make your Christmas soup, don't let the kids have any access to the heating. Reuse clothes, electronics, packaging, get on that Vinted, eBay, the book website, all of that sort of thing. And then the final R is rethink, which I think is a good one. Rethink your purchases.
24-hour pause, Jane.
24 hours.
Pause.
Transport. Can you walk or wait until it stops raining and then walk? And holiday habits. Do you really need to go there on your holidays? Or if you do, can you go there more sustainably? Or be more sustainable when you get there? Or offset your carbon somehow?
There you go.
That's a hard one.
It is. So there you go. There's some ideas for 2026. It did really trying to prepare for this. It did get me really thinking about this thing about, there's lots of good stuff out there, but it's how do you access it? How do you collate it? How do you make that people have got easy access to it? I'm not quite sure what the answer is. No, I talked to Scott Butler. They're really focused on their HypnoCat campaign and about waste electricals. So that's one waste type, if you like. But there's issues with other waste types. How do you make sure people are aware of all these good resources that are out there that I think sometimes we're probably not aware of all the resources that are out there, James, and
No.
we're involved with the sector.
I think as well is there are a lot of resources out there, and you can, like, say, go down rabbit holes trying to find out which one's
Totally.
which and all that sort of stuff. So it would be good to identify ones that, listeners have used and actually tell you they work.
We maybe need a rubbish talk list of the best waste and recycling resources. Actually. There we go. Mia, I hope Mia's listening in the background here. Never know, that could be a project for Mia.
She's in charge.
Yeah, and we've actually not had any feedback from anybody about Mia's starring role in the Christmas episode of the podcast. Or was it? No, it was a New Year one, wasn't it?
Quizmaster.
The quiz. So we've not had any feedback about that. So if people liked hearing Mia on the podcast, we need some positive feedback because we need to encourage her.
Yeah, absolutely.
To do next ones. For the listeners that can't see, Mia's hiding behind the desk at the moment.
Yes.
So, what's next? Rant. I've not even asked Jane if you've got one, but I've got one.
Yeah, no, I've seen your photo of it, and I would definitely go with that rant.
It's just outrageous. So my rant, if nobody's on my LinkedIn, was over the Christmas period. It was actually nice weather down here, so lots of people walking on the beach. Lots of dogs that don't seem to get walked the rest of the year. Were out and about, and for some reason somebody decided the bin was full. I am actually really annoyed that I never actually checked this bin. I was actually going to go down my bin bag and take all the dog poo. So if people haven't seen the post, it's a large bin with a pile of dog poo above it, and then people stashed a few coffee cups and so on. I was actually going to go down and take all the dog poo, put it in a bag and actually check, and I'm pretty sure that bin would not have been full. And it was just people were too lazy to actually lift the lid. It's just like, for goodness sake, if a bin's full on Boxing Day, don't add another dog poo bag to it. Take it home with you. It's not going to kill you to walk another, either take it to the next bin, which was 100 yards away, or take it home with you.
Yeah.
And that's what I did put in my post. I put up, the moment we've got Scottish Government, we've got the Circular Economy Strategy consultation out, all about, getting people to do the right thing with waste and resources. Consultation ends the 13th of January. And I'm like, if we can't even get people to put dog poo or a coffee cup in a bin, how on earth are we going to get them to, think about managing the waste in a circular way? But that's maybe a depressing start to the year. And don't start me on holly wreaths and public benches. That's probably a different rant.
Yeah, I think that's it. And amongst with the flowers and the holly wreaths, yeah.
There was one I was so close to taking a photo that you could not sit in this bench because it had so many holly wreaths, and it's like, why donate a bench to a public space and you're just going to put things that prevent people using the bench? And go back to my idea of to put a wee QR code on there and ask for a donation to a charity, and use that as a remembrance. So that was my
That's your rant
okay, for the year. I've actually calmed down from it. It was at the time
you were fizzing, were you?
I was that close to going. It wasn't the only bin. There were other bins like that, and it's depressing. But anyway, that's all done. I've got that off my chest.
Well done.
Let us hear your ideas for being more sustainable in 2026. If you get any good resources that you think we should know about, or think we'll quite happily share them. So thank you for listening.
Yep, thank you very much.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode. See you again next Thursday at 4 p.m. Don't forget to follow, share with friends, and send us your feedback at hello@rubbishtalk.co.uk.